Hello, world. Hello, Africa. Hello, Nigeria. It's beautiful to be here today, and I'm so excited because today is going to be a really remarkable day in the lives of many persons who are going to be watching this. So, if you're watching this right now, you're welcome. Please go to the comments and tell me where you're watching from. Mike from Canada, Israel from Abeokuta, Raymond from Ijebu, Clinton from Port Harcourt, different part of the world you're watching in from. Let me know in the comments and let's get right into the conversation. It's day 4 of the Metamorphosis Conference. And of course, you know what that is, the mental transformation. Like I always like to say that anything that will happen in your life begins here. It begins from your mind. And that's why we are considering these specific topics. So from the first day, we've had a roller coaster of transformation moments. We had the first edition with comfort, with myself rather. I came on to show you mechanics of lasting change and transformation. And the next session we had comfort. Alexander Comfort, she came to tell us about the place of mental health, in personal and professional life. And of course, the third session. Do I recall now? Okay. Yeah, we had what's her name now? This will help me. We had Phenomena Elizabeth. Yeah, she spoke to us about the mind mastery. Yeah. Of course, also had product. Yeah, yeah. Please tell me in the comments what's your name and where you're watching from. So our productivity God speak to us as well. And of course, yesterday was mind blowing. We had Sir David Folaromi of David Folaromi Foundation. He shared with us practical, mind-boggling, and tear-triggering stories about his 7-year drug addiction and how he was able to, break out from that chain. And yesterday also we had Doreen Omosele talked to us about sex addiction, she had experiences and how she found help. And of course, how anybody who has that challenge can also find help. And of course, this night, I'm going to be sharing my experience, my story. This is not some super story. This is my own story, how I struggled with pornography and masturbation, and how I found true help, um, you know, healing and recovering from it. So you're welcome, everybody. If you can hear me, just type I can hear you in the comments. It's so good to be here today. All right, let's get right into the conversation. Um, why do we even need to talk about pornography, masturbation of that? Because first of all, I'm going to be showing you a number of things, and I want you guys to pay very close attention because this is really key. So if you have ever tried to quit addiction in the past, you struggle with pornography, this is just going to be that game changer for you, honestly, all right? Because I'm sharing my personal story and experience, strategies I've tried that did not work, and what I found to be true. And so let's start from this point. So many young people go into addiction not because they are bad people, not because they are evil people, not because they are terrible humans, but because of different circumstances. One of them being early exposure to sexual content. And that's why we teach parents to work on prevention of pornography and the appropriate sex conversations at teachable ages. All right. So many young people get exposed to pornography content and sexual materials at a very young age, usually between 5, 6, 7, then of course later teenage, that's 10, 11, 12, like that. So some people found sexual content through internet, all right? They got access to it on internet. But for younger children, they saw it from their parents. Unfortunately, some of them saw their parents, having sexual intercourse together. They started hearing some sounds from the other bedroom, from the bedroom and all of that. Some of them start having, from holiday makers. They have neighbors, they have siblings, they have what's it called now? Cousins, nephew come to greet them. And then while they're outdoor playing and the parents are doing some other things, all these things begin to happen. So many young people have exposure at very young age, and that sparks curiosity. And of course, you should know that curiosity is like one of the biggest drivers for sexual experiences, curiosity, and that's what leads to addiction in the long run. So many people are curious. Many young people begin to get curious. What is this for? What is this about? How does this work? Of course, it becomes difficult for many people because once that sexual experience is triggered at that age, all right, usually there is no serious implication at that point because most times you don't even know what it is. Or as a matter of fact, many people started masturbating even before they knew what it was. All right, that's a fact. Many young people started masturbating because before they even knew what it was called, they didn't even know. They just, started somehow, and they're like, okay, before they realized that, oh, this is this issue and this is the real challenge. So it happens like that, and because of economic issues, there is so much delay in marriage that many young people are getting married at late 20s. On the contrary, they began puberty at a very early teenage age. So you have somebody who starts experiencing puberty from say 13 or 14, and they've got to wait till about 24 or sometimes even 34. That's about 10 to 20 years difference. And that's creates a lot of curiosity and this pressure most times, especially if the individual, the young person involved, lacks access to quality and appropriate sex education, and they don't have irresponsible adults who can actually guide them into the truth that they need to know at that age. So all of these are some of these rather are issues that really make it complicated and fuel the desire and curiosity to actually engage in sexual um, behaviors and inappropriate sexual encounters. So these are just underlying issues. Some other reason young people get into exposure about this is because they want to satisfy their sexual craving. So I tell people that it is absolutely normal to have sexual feelings at a particular age. However, what you do with them is what really matters. Just like, you know, being hungry does not automatically mean that you will steal. Being hungry is a normal biological phenomenon in your body. As a matter of fact, if you don't get hungry, I like to say it's a proof that you are probably not even healthy. So you need to go to the hospital to check if you're really healthy. All right. So hunger for food is just the same way as urges for sexual experience. However, we have the ability to control it. I think that's one of the most fundamental things many young people don't know. So we have been programmed to believe that it's impossible to stay without sexual engagement until until your marriage. And because of the society we find ourselves in, which is highly sexualized, almost everything these days has been sexualized, up to TV ads, to um social media feeds, reels, everything is sexualized. And so it makes it really difficult for many people who don't even have the right knowledge. And even for people who have the right knowledge, it's very difficult most times because there is no enabling environment to consistently keep that information and education abreast. So I'm going to be sharing really practical strategies with you that would greatly help you. So if you're here once again, you're welcome. I'm going to be sharing with you practical strategies that helped me and can help you quit pornography and overcome masturbation for good. All right. So let's get into the conversation. I'll just share a few background knowledge why people get into. Welcome, Samuel. It's good to have you here. All right. So I'm sharing background knowledge that makes people get exposed to these challenges. Why do people get exposed to pornography, masturbation, all of that? So I shared one of them. I said one is early exposure to sexual experiences. Some people, it is abuse. So there are people who got abused, at age 4, age 3, age 2, whether boy or girl. So even the case for homosexuality, lesbianism, and all of those kind of feelings is traceable to early exposure to abuse. All right, some persons were abused at a young age. Some other reason apart from the age gap between puberty and marriage age, delayed by people want to be rich before they get married. So those are just underlying issues. Some of the issues that is traceable is emotional need. So some persons need emotional support. They need that emotional help. So in a bid to satisfy the way their bodies are responding, right? They go into pornography, they go into masturbation, all of that, which is not the appropriate route. All right, I'm going to share with you how to actually relieve stress, how to find sleep, how to ensure that you're just whole without using pornography as an escape tool or masturbation as a means of buffering. So buffering in this case is talking about something you turn to when you are in a discomforting emotional state. So for instance, many people turn to pornography when they lose their job. Some people turn to masturbation when they're unable to find sleep. In fact, I saw a comic recently on Facebook and I was like, okay, what is this? So when I checked the comic, uh, it was saying that it was a cartoon, was saying it was showing a character trying to sleep and then I think it was turning on the alarm or something like that, but it was not able to sleep. So but then the cartoon just showed him put I think a bottle of cream, applying lotion to the end, and he just threw the thing away. And of course, anybody who has had experience with masturbation would definitely understand what that means. So it just shows and seeks to present that masturbating is a way to quickly sleep, all right, or find relief from stress. And that's totally wrong because even though it might seem to relieve you, you're actually building and preparing yourself for trouble. And why I say this is because many persons don't understand that pornography and masturbation is a friendly enemy. And when I say friendly enemy, I mean to say that it brings you comfort in the short term, but it brings you travails in the long term. Long term, it brings you this peace, all right? But it's holding a dagger right behind your neck. So it comes to you like a very caring nurse, but it becomes an assassin that has been sent to you. So three goals of any kind of addiction, like you find out yesterday with during Sir David's session, three kinds of addiction basically. The three goals rather. Number one is to steal, number two is to kill, and number three is to destroy. That's it. So even though it looks, in my language, there is this proverb that says, "Ikun jogede, ikun ready, ikun mo pe ohun to dun ni pani." What that means is that ikun is like I think squirrel or skunk. So the skunk or the squirrel now in this case eats the banana and eventually the skunk gets carried away while eating the banana and then the hunter gets to catch it and kills it. All right. So what he's saying is that while you are thinking that you are getting pleasure, you're actually killing yourself because you're becoming so subservient and you're becoming vulnerable to other challenges. I tell people, if you struggle with pornography, honestly, the truth is pornography is not a problem. That may shock you, but pornography is not a problem. Masturbation is not a problem. The problem is the problem. You are not the problem. You are not the problem. The problem is the problem. And what's the problem? The problem is that you don't even know the problem. Does that make sense right now? So here's what I'm saying. If you have a challenge with pornography or masturbation, what is happening is that you are just using it as your favorite drug. You're using it as a favorite drug, but it's not your real problem. So if you struggle with pornography or masturbation, one thing you must clearly understand is your problem is not masturbation. Your problem is not pornography. You have a deeper, deep seated underlying challenge. For instance, it could be an unhealed trauma. It could be a pending, forgiveness. You've not forgiven yourself. You feel let's say you were molested at age 4 or 5, maybe you were even raped. So you carry that baggage of guilt. You feel like you're the cause of everything. You're a failure. You have limiting beliefs that are holding you bound. So because of these limiting beliefs, you're seeing yourself as somebody who is Sorry for the break, guys. All right, I had to respond to a very, very urgent call from the next speaker. All right, so I was saying, if you struggle with any addiction like pornography or masturbation, your real challenge is not pornography. It's just that feeling you're trying to solve or cover or escape from, all right, with pornography or masturbation. So, like I said, it could be loneliness, it could be feeling of low self worth, it could be poor self-image. It could be lack of confidence. It could be anything. All right. So once you figure out the real emotion you're trying to escape from, your journey becomes easy. So second thing you need to understand is what I call the three model of sex addiction. And number one is the three A's rather. Number one is anonymous. So sexual addictions are anonymous, and that breeds a lot of stronghold. It makes it incredibly difficult to actually break because you are just there alone. Nobody knows. So nobody knows you are the one who is struggling with this thing. Nobody knows you are part of the people who have this challenge. You're hiding it and you feel you're safe. But the truth is, your brain knows. Even if nobody knows, your brain knows you love dopamine. And when I say this, I mean, like I told you earlier, you are not addicted to masturbation. You are just addicted to the feeling you get. And that's why you would notice that when you watch pornography and you get that thrill of dopamine rush, the moment your brain begins to get used to that kind of pornography or that category of, if you don't watch you watch porn, you understand what I'm saying. So that kind of pornography, your brain begins to want novelty. It wants newness. All right, it wants new kind. So that's why you see yourself watching different kinds of pornography, animal porn, I mean, different stuff, gay pornography, and different categories. And the funny thing, like I made a post earlier on my Facebook today, is you can never be satisfied. I don't know, I don't even care to know the kind of pornography you enjoy. You cannot be satisfied. And that's a trap. So because you need new kind of excitement, you are caught in that web. So so you watch pornography. That's a cycle. Now you watch pornography, you feel thrilled, and before you know, once that feeling goes down, you feel bad again, you feel shameful, and because you're feeling shameful, you go back to pornography to seek support or succor, and then you see that cycle. It keeps repeating like that, like that, like that. So one of the things you want to start doing is to realize that it's a trap, and then you're doing yourself more harm than good. And also, like I said, realize that it's not your real problem. You're just addicted to the feeling you're getting. And like I said, the first thing is the A, which is anonymous. So sexual sins are anonymous. So you need to expose it. And that's why I said, if you can speak up, you can find help. If you can speak up, you can get up. If you can speak up, you can get up. If you can speak up, you can heal up. So speak out. And when I say speak out, I say speak up, not just speak out, because speaking out is not enough. You need to speak up. Many people speak out, but they don't speak up. What's the difference? When you speak out, you talk to somebody. When you speak up, you talk to somebody that can help you. Many people have spoken out, and when I get on calls with my clients, I ask them, why did you not speak out again? All right. They say the first person they told, judge them. All right. Especially spiritual leaders who really don't understand some of these things. Some of them, right? So they feel like, oh, it's just about confessing your sins because you're not serious enough. It's because, I mean, anybody who has really been addicted to pornography and masturbation knows that it's not about being good necessarily. You can be a good person, but you're still addicted. You can be a church goer, let me put it that way. But if you don't know certain things, you will still struggle. That's what the Bible says. When you know the truth will set you free. And that's why you get to get the knowledge. So also number two is the second A, which is affordable. All right. So pornography is affordable. You really don't have to pay to get access. Unlike drug addiction, okay, that if you don't have money, like Sir David was saying yesterday, he needs about 40,000 naira to buy the dosage of drug that he uses. All right. So unlike drug addiction, where you need about 40,000 naira to fund it daily, from what he said, pornography is technically free, except for people who subscribe to some, I don't want to mention names, but some platforms like that where they get to get exclusive pornography. That's crazy though. All right. So generally, pornography is free. As a matter of fact, there's a particular, if you watch pornography, you will know what you understand this I'm talking about. There's a particular website that once you get there, the first advert you're hearing is down, down, down. It's free, it goes like that. Don't mind me, right? I still remember. So when I used to watch pornography, that website just welcome you, like, welcome. This website is free. It's going to mention the name and it's free. And then it goes like this and you begin to see some naked stuff. It's crazy. But the point here is it's technically free. You don't have to pay money except for those who subscribe to exclusive pornography content. So pornography is free, so it's accessible. It's affordable rather. It's everywhere. You don't have to pay money everywhere. So that's the second thing. Number three is the third A, which is accessible. So just by going to your browser, there are over 400 million websites of pornography. That's crazy. So you can get access to it. It's accessible, it's affordable, it's anonymous. These three major A's makes it incredibly difficult to actually break out from. You see that? So that's what makes it difficult. But if you can scale out from these three things: number one, anonymous, you speak out about it. They're affordable, you make yourself understand by programming your mind that you don't need it. Yes, it can be affordable, you don't need it. Right? That poison is accessible. The pornography pardon me, that the poisonous content is affordable does not mean you buy it, right? So the fact that pornography is affordable does not mean you patronize it. Number three is accessible. So you want to make it inaccessible to yourself, right? Especially if you're just trying to quit. And that involves you getting rid of all content, ensure there's no porn proofing your phone, your space, and all of that. If you have physical books, burn them, don't give them out. Like the people in the Ephesus of the Bible, they burn it out, all right? They don't pamper it. They burnt over $6 million worth of magic books. So don't look at the cost. Burn it. It's going to help you. So get rid of the materials, and that will really help you. So let's get into the next part of this conversation. And one of the major things you want to do is to reprogram your mind to realize that you don't actually need pornography. You don't need it. And when I say you don't need it, I like to say this because I tell people that you should stop struggling to quit pornography. Rather, become somebody who does not need pornography. Become somebody who does not need to masturbate. And how do you do that? Of course, that's identity. So usually the problem of pornography and masturbation is an identity problem. When you know who you are, believe me, what you do will change. When you understand who you are, the way you carry yourself will be different. If you knew today that your dad is a wealthy man and your person you call your dad now is probably no insult, I'm just making a reference. Let's imagine, or let's say that you imagine today, let's say your main dad, right? Your dad calls you today and tells you, oh, I've just been testing you all this while, or maybe for whatever reason, this is not our real quality of life. I've got houses in these places, this kind of millions there, and then it just automatically brings everything to the picture. And you discover your dad is one of the top richest persons in, let's even say Nigeria or your country. Is one of the top 10 richest person. The way you talk will change. The kinds of clothes you wear will change. Not because necessarily any other thing has changed, because your identity has changed. So because now you know that your dad is a wealthy man, you will talk differently. And I'm telling you honestly, even your friends will automatically change, or they will increase or improve the quality of their life. Everybody's going to change. So just by understanding your identity alone, a lot of things will change. So what's your identity? Number one, your identity is that of a winner. Stop thinking like a victim. You're a victor. I tell people that, you should stop thinking about where you are. Start thinking of where you want to be. And that's why I don't call people addicts. Nobody's an addict. You're just somebody who has a challenge with an addiction. Is it making sense? You are not an addict. So stop calling yourself an addict. Stop saying I'm a porn addict. No, you're not an addict. You're somebody who has a challenge. And I call it a challenge because I like to tell you, it's not a problem, it's a challenge. Anything that comes to your life to make you better is a challenge, not a problem. Stop seeing it as a challenge. Just like you are in a school, let's say you're a student, right? And then you have an exam or you have a test or a project to handle. You don't see that project as a problem. If you see it as a problem, it will keep being a problem to you. But if you start seeing it as a challenge, it challenges you and makes you go extra mile. It makes you take extra effort. So stop seeing it as a challenge. Stop seeing it as a problem, rather. See it as a challenge that has come to make you better. Is that making sense right now? So I use this example a lot. I started doing video creation on TikTok some time ago. I think that was last year, right? And then at a point, it became very difficult for me to actually get results. And I had to sit down myself. I took a seat mentally, right? What's the problem? I discovered that I was seeing creating the video as a problem. But I changed my mind. I'm like, okay, this video creation is not a problem. It's a challenge, and I'm going to get this done. I learned it. I sat down, studied it, and I found the way. And today I create videos like water. Like I did my videos. You go to my TikTok. If there are 100 videos on my TikTok, I did about 95. That's serious, right? So I cracked that code. So stop seeing your addiction as, you know, a problem, it's a challenge. And secondly, that's why I'm careful when I say your addiction, because it's not really yours. So I tell people that you may have an addiction, right? But don't let the addiction have you. Does that make sense? You may have an addiction, but don't let that addiction have you. Type it in the comments. If you can hear this, type that in the comments. You may have an addiction, but don't let your addiction have you. Now, what this simply means is that don't let the addiction claim ownership of you. Don't subject yourself to it. Keep fighting. And when I say fighting, I don't mean with willpower. Fighting with knowledge, fighting with instruction, fighting with understanding. Most people are fighting blindly, and that's why they struggle. Imagine somebody who is holding, who's holding a ball in the water. The ball cannot sink. It has to always float. So no matter how much you press the water against the ball against the water, it will still come floating. So that's what most people are doing. They are in a sea of addiction, and they're holding onto a ball of willpower, struggling. I will not do it. I will not do it. At the end of the day, they eventually do it. So I like to tell you, there are not two options when it comes to addiction. There are three options basically. So most people think it's just two options. No, it's not. You don't have two options. You have three options, because usually the options most people think they have is struggle, uh, you know, sorry, they have the option of either doing it or not doing it. No, it's not true. All right. You need to understand there's a balance there. All right. So between gratification, all right, which is doing it, and struggling with willpower, which is not doing it, there is a thin line which is called allowing it. And when I say allow, I don't mean doing it. I mean allow the urges. Right? This is urge management. If you're registered and enter into my program, there is a program. I have my sexual addictions post-op intensive program. I go deep dive into that part where I talked about allowing and processing your urges. So processing your urges is a process of mindfulness. Mindfulness in the sense that you sit with that emotion and you allow yourself process it. It gives you time to think. But if you're caught between that web of pendulum, between should I do it, should I not do it, you keep swinging here and there. And especially because you're struggling, you're thinking about how do I not do it, you eventually yield to it. And it makes you feel very bad because you know that this is wrong. But you don't have two options. No, this alone can be the game changer. You do not have two options when it comes to addiction. You have three options. Between gratifying and struggling, there is a balance, which is what? Processing. Process the urges. When you process the urges, it gives you time to think. It gives you time to verbalize. It gives you time to journal. It gives you time to think. What is the cost? What is the benefits? So you are able to make value-based decisions and informed choices. You're not doing something rashly. You're taking informed choice and decisions. What happens if I do this? Is this right for me? Is this the best thing for my destiny? Is this thing appropriate for me right now? So it helps you take informed decisions. Does that make sense? So you're not struggling. You're not caught between that web, right? So another thing you need to understand here is that when it comes to addictions, you are not without help. You are able to overcome it. I think this is one of the major things people don't even understand. They feel like, oh, I'm helpless. Once it comes like this, I will just follow it. No, you're not helpless. You are in charge. As a matter of fact, that's what I tell you about. It's about identity. If you're a believer, there's a scripture in the Bible that says you are seated in heavenly places. So if you're seated in heavenly places, how can you condescend low into the valleys of gratification? How can you, stoop so low to come to the plains where you engage in that habit? So if you can just understand that I'm bigger than this, And because let me give you an example. There are certain things that you don't stop doing because you are tired. You stop doing them because you have outgrown them. All right. How many of you remember when you were younger and then you used to play with sand? Why don't you play with sand anymore? Is it that sands are bad, or sands have changed, or sands now bite, or sands now burn? No, of course not. Sand is still sand, just that you grew up, your brain improved. That's why you're no longer playing with sand. So if you're no longer playing with sand, it simply means you can stop playing with addiction. You can stop playing with your genitals. All right. So if you used to play with sand and you no longer play with sand, it simply means you can stop playing with your genitals. You can stop watching pornography because you grew. So you need to outgrow pornography, outgrow masturbation. And that's why I said it's about what? Self identity. And of course, self equipping. And that's where re education comes in. Start re engineering your mind, re educate your mind. You are not an addict. You can overcome pornography. As a matter of fact, if you can re engineer your mind by reprogramming the simple beliefs, a lot of things will change about you. Bible says, be transformed rather in the renewing of your mind. If you can renew your mind, you can transform your mind. Right? If you can renew your mind, you can transform your life. Believe me, if you can renew your mind, you can transform your life. So, what exactly do you need to change? What exactly do you need to renew? Once you understand this, it becomes very, very clear and simple. So, once you understand this aspect, a lot of things will change about you. So, let's wrap up here. What are the things you need to do to actually break out from addiction? I've shared about mindset, I've shared about reprogramming your mind, about your identity, who you are, who you're not. And of course, I've shared the fact that you don't have three options, you don't have two options, you have three options instead. And also, I like to also say this, I think I mentioned that earlier, remove shame. Shame doesn't work. Shame makes it difficult for you to actually quit. In fact, it makes it difficult for you to even seek help. And as a believer, you can't even pray anymore because you feel you're unworthy, you feel you're unloved, you feel you're worthless, right? You feel God hates you already because of what you've done. Meanwhile, what you don't know is God is ever waiting for you to come back home. If you read the Bible, you see the story of the prodigal son. Jesus was waiting, right? The father, rather, was waiting to receive the son. The Bible says when he saw him from afar, he ran to him. So that's a very powerful illustration there. God is waiting to receive you, all right? Your new life is waiting to receive you. Those goals, those strategies, those destinations you've penned down to achieve, they are waiting for you. Your new life is waiting for you. Your family is waiting to receive you back. Your loved ones are waiting to receive you back. Your children, your wife, they are waiting to receive you back from that journey of addiction. So stop thinking you're a failure. Stop thinking you can't make it anymore. Stop thinking about suicide. Suicide is not a solution. It doesn't matter how long you struggle, you can find help. God loves you so much, and your new life is begging that you come back home. All right. So practical strategies you can employ. Let's go of band-aid solutions. Stop using band-aid solutions. What are band-aid solutions? They are solutions that they tell you to try that do not work. Example, they tell you don't stay alone. How long can you do that? There are times you will need to be alone. I'm serving in River State. I'm not with my friends. I haven't seen my parents in about 8 months or something. I'm alone. So what do I do here if I have not mastered the techniques that I need to know? Not stay alone. It can happen. It can always happen. You get to university, you don't have a roommate, or you are still looking for a roommate, you need to be alone. All right? You can't always be alone. You need a meet time with yourself. You need a prayer time with God. So all of these times you're alone, what do you do? So stop being alone doesn't work. They also tell you things like, install porn blockers and filters. Filters can work, but they are not going to work efficiently if you have not settled the case here. Why? Because with just a tap or two, you can uninstall that app, right? You can install it, right? You can uninstall it. So if you have not disciplined yourself, porn blockers cannot do much. I recommend porn blockers to consolidate your discipline, but that's not the way the real job is. The real job is in your mind, right? Another band-aid solutions they tell you is that you should tell somebody. Now, telling somebody works. Like I told you earlier, some people are not able to provide help to you, all right? So, people open up and then they hear things like, oh, you're a bad person. Oh, so you are doing, look at you, a whole you, a whole you. Some people open up and they get shamed, they get backlashed. Some people open up and all they hear is sorry, God will help you. That's not what you want. You don't need pity, you need help. So stop opening up to people who pity you. Open up to people who help you. Is that okay? So strategies over pity. All right. That's one key thing. Another band aid solution they tell you is to go and get married. I tell people don't get married to somebody who has an addiction. Why? Because if they don't solve it now, they will drag you down. So not to shame anybody. If you have an addiction, I'm not wishing you not to get married. I'm not telling you to take responsibility and fix it before you start thinking of marriage or love life, because you're going to put your partner into much trouble. So having said that, what else do you need to do or know to actually break free? You need three basic things. Number one, information. And when I say information, I mean superior knowledge. And that's what I've been sharing with you so far, to actually re-educate your mind and position you to experience and to embrace a new life and experience transformation. Number two, you need tools and resources. For instance, you need tools like cost benefit analysis. You need personal value creation system, so that you can have values that will guide your life and help you make informed decisions. You also need tools like urge management, how to process your urge, and what to do when it becomes really difficult. Also, you need to understand how to manage slip ups, understanding that slip ups are not the end of your recovery. Slip ups are supposed to be step ups. How to, slip up prevention and intervention, how to prevent slip ups, and what to do when slip ups happen. So, you need tools, and that's what I provide in my 30-day program. Is the Sexual Addictions Bust Up Intensive Program. So, if you think you need help about this, you can also get access to, just go to bit.ly/sabi program, bit.ly/sabi program, bit.ly/sabi program, bit.ly/sabi program. Go there and get access to the programs. It will help you a lot. It's loaded, all right? And the third thing you need, I said number one is information. Number two, you need tools and resources. And number three, you need system. And when I say system, it is a system that helps you put these tools and information and strategies into place. Because most times, the issue with pornography and masturbation addiction is not that you don't know what to do, is that you don't know how to do what to do, and you don't know how to do what you know to do consistently. So sometimes people have the information but don't know how to implement it. So that's what the system provides you with. So when you get into my Sabi program, you get access to my system, my community, where you get access to me directly, and of course get access to other persons in the community who are on the same journey with you, which makes the journey incredibly simple and easy to navigate. So if you're in this category, you have a challenge of pornography or masturbation, and you are sincerely tired, emphasis on sincerely tired, find your way to find your way to bit.ly/sabi program, bit.ly/sabi program, and sign up right away. I'll see you on the other end. Thank you for coming around. This is my experience and all of the lessons, some of the lessons I've learned from, dealing with addiction and interacting with people who struggle with this challenge. And of course, from my research as well. So go and implement these strategies, and they're going to help you a lot. If you have questions, drop them in the comments. I'll be there to respond to them. Or you go to my anonymous channel, be tinyurl.com/askdariyemi, tinyurl.com/askdariyemi, and I'm going to respond to your questions in a TikTok video or a YouTube Shorts video. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for coming around. I believe this has been helpful to you. Go and implement them, and I'll see you some other time. Meanwhile, the next session comes up shortly. We're going to be having a Mekanobis, founder of Knowledge Money University. He's going to be coming to share with you how to harness your time, energy, and creativity to create consistent income streams for yourself. Now that you no longer watch pornography, you no longer masturbate, you have time in your hands. So what do you do with that time? How do you harness your creativity and your energy that you have recovered from pornography and masturbation? How do you use it? Let's join the Mekanobis in the next 3-5 minutes. Ensure you stay here. Don't go anywhere. Michael, you're welcome. It's okay. It's all right. You're late, but you can catch the replay. It's available here. So thank you so much, guys, and I will see you some other time. Let's go catch a Mekanobis in the next session. Bye.